Machiavelli didn't waste time negotiating with emotional chaos. He operated with one thing: strategy, not feelings, not guilt, not sympathy, strategy. Toxic people thrive in emotional spaces. They feed off your reactions, your compassion, your desire to explain yourself. That's their fuel. But when you strip that away and move with pure calculation, you choke them out. You don't give them what they need to survive. You become untouchable. He understood something most people today can't stomach. If someone is a liability to your mission, it doesn't matter how long you've known them. It doesn't matter if they're family, if they've been through a lot, or if they're a good person deep down. That's noise. That's weakness disguised as virtue. Machiavelli didn't get caught up in emotional strings because he knew one truth: the mission must come first, every time, without compromise. The moment you allow emotion to override strategy, you become vulnerable. You give the enemy a door, and toxic people, they are masters at finding that door. So what did Machiavelli do? He stayed cold. He stayed calculated. He watched people like pieces on a board. Every move had a purpose. Every connection served a goal. And if a piece stopped serving the plan, he removed it. No drama, no scenes, just precision. Because emotion clouds judgment. Emotion slows you down. When you're out to build something powerful, something real, you don't get to carry people who aren't built for the climb. He didn't argue, he didn't explain, he didn't get pulled into games. He saw the signs early: manipulation, drama, jealousy, distraction, and he acted. Strategy doesn't hesitate, it doesn't second guess. It makes the cut fast and clean. When you move with strategy instead of emotion, you stop negotiating with toxicity. You stop hoping it'll change. You stop sacrificing your focus to make someone else comfortable. That's how you protect your energy. That's how you guard your purpose. You don't fight toxicity. You starve it. You outsmart it. You outdistance it. And when it shows up in your circle, you treat it like Machiavelli would, with absolute clarity and no mercy. Because in the end, strategy doesn't ask for permission, it executes. Toxicity isn't just a bad vibe or an annoying personality trait. It's a threat, a direct, silent, and corrosive threat to your discipline, your momentum, your mission. Machiavelli saw that. He didn't label people as difficult or going through something. He saw them for what they were: distractions, poison, liabilities. You don't get to build something powerful while dragging poison behind you. You either cut it out or get consumed by it. There is no middle ground. People think toxic energy just makes things uncomfortable. No, it does more than that. It gets into your head. It makes you question your grind. It shifts your priorities slowly without you even noticing. One moment you're chasing your vision with fire. The next you're stuck thinking about what some bitter, insecure person said to you. That's how it works. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's subtle. It comes through passive-aggressive comments, fake support, hidden jealousy. But make no mistake, it's a threat. Machiavelli never underestimated the power of influence. He understood that a single person in the wrong role could disrupt the entire system. He didn't wait for things to get worse. He didn't give people the benefit of the doubt when they showed signs of sabotage. He moved fast because when you allow toxic people into your space, you invite chaos into your strategy. You give weakness a seat at your table, and weakness spreads. One toxic voice in the room can change the entire tone of a team. One person constantly complaining, doubting, gossiping. They infect focus. They kill drive. They pull attention away from execution and turn it toward drama. That's how dreams die, not with a bang, but with distraction. With slow leaks in energy, vision, and morale. Machiavelli saw those slow leaks and sealed them before they became floods. Toxic people don't just hurt your feelings, they compromise your foundation. They challenge your self-control, they test your patience. They suck the oxygen out of your goals. And if you don't handle them with precision and force, they will become the reason you stop moving forward. They're not just toxic, they're dangerous. They are the unseen enemy, smiling in the room, acting like they care, while draining the very thing that keeps you alive, your focus. In Machiavellian thinking, everything comes down to one question: does this person serve the mission or sabotage it? There is no gray area. There is no in-between. And when it comes to toxic people, the answer is clear. If they can't be influenced, controlled, or turned into an asset, their presence becomes a threat. And threats are eliminated, not with emotions, not with arguments, but with calculated moves. Clean, quick. Final, he didn't entertain the idea of letting people linger in his circle once they proved themselves unworthy. If they couldn't be brought into alignment with the goal, they had no place near it. That's the brutal simplicity of power. It's not about being liked. It's about staying sharp. Every person in your orbit is either helping you sharpen your edge or dulling your blade. And when you're dull, you can't cut through resistance. You can't win. Machiavelli understood that letting someone stay in your space after they've shown themselves to be toxic is the same as surrendering control. It's giving away leverage. It's allowing your enemies to watch you, study you, influence you. And it never ends well. He moved people like pieces on a chessboard. If a piece no longer served the plan, it was sacrificed. Not because he was heartless, but because he was focused. That's what real strength looks like. Making hard decisions because the goal demands it. You don't argue with a liability. You don't waste breath trying to make them see your vision. You don't drown in explanations trying to convince someone who already decided not to believe in you. You assess, you act, you move on. If they're not on mission, they're off the map. Period. The truth is, if someone consistently brings drama, confusion, or doubt, you don't try to repair them. You don't try to fix their mindset. That's not your job. Your job is to protect your energy, your time, and your fire. And protecting those things means taking swift action when someone threatens them. Either that person falls in line, becomes useful, adds value, or they're removed from the system. Not slowly, not someday, immediately, because control is not a shared power. It's owned, enforced, and protected by those ruthless enough to make the cut when it's time. Machiavelli didn't waste his breath trying to justify his moves to people who didn't understand the mission. He didn't explain his decisions to small minds. He didn't argue with fools. He used silence as a weapon, a brutal, calculated form of control. Because when you're focused, truly locked in, you learn that sympathy and constant communication are liabilities. You don't owe anyone an explanation for cutting them off when they've become dead weight. You just move, quietly, decisively, without a backward glance. Toxic people feed on reaction. They want you to argue. They want you to defend yourself. They thrive in that chaos. The more you explain, the more power you hand them. The moment you raise your voice, they win. Because now you're not focused on your vision. You're focused on them. That's the trap. That's the game they play. Machiavelli never played it. He stayed cold. He stayed silent. And when someone crossed the line, they were gone before they even realized they were on thin ice. In a world full of noise, silence is dominance. Silence makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to confront the consequences of their own behavior without giving them an outlet to shift the blame. You don't need to prove you're right. You don't need to justify your exit. You don't need to explain why someone no longer gets access to your time, energy, or space. You just cut the cord and walk. This isn't about ego. It's about efficiency. Every word you waste trying to explain yourself is a word not spent building. Every argument you entertain is a detour from the mission. Sympathy slows you down, especially when it's given to people who use it to manipulate you. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He didn't see emotion as weakness, but he saw the misuse of emotion as fatal. He knew when to feel and when to shut it off. That's power. That's control. When toxic people try to pull you into their world, you don't meet them there. You don't stoop. You don't wrestle in the mud. You rise above in silence. You disappear from their drama and redirect that energy back into your craft. No arguments, no scenes, just a closed door and a higher standard. Every person in your life is either helping you win or slowing you down. That's the truth people are too soft to admit. They think relationships are about loyalty, history, or emotion. But Machiavelli saw it differently. He viewed people as tools in the machinery of power, assets or liabilities, useful or dangerous. There was no middle ground. You either add value to the vision, or you get removed from the equation, cold. Maybe necessary, absolutely. You don't build empires with sentiment. You build with precision. You build with people who sharpen your edge, who challenge you to rise, who pull more out of you than you knew you had. If someone can't serve that role, they become a threat to the mission. And Machiavelli didn't let threats linger. He didn't carry people who couldn't carry their own weight. That's how he kept control, by refusing to let emotions blur the lines between what's useful and what's dangerous. Too many people keep toxic individuals around out of guilt, fear, or obligation. That's weakness. That's indecision. That's how greatness gets smothered. You don't hold onto a leaking boat out of nostalgia. You patch it or abandon it. And if someone around you is leaking your time, leaking your peace, leaking your focus, then you already know what you have to do. You don't need more signs. You need more courage. This is war. War for your time. War for your mind. War for your future. And in war, you don't keep people who hesitate, who fold under pressure, who second guess your every move. You align with people who move with purpose, who don't flinch, who respect the grind. Everyone else, they're in the way, and when someone's in the way, you don't try to fix them. You don't give second chances to sabotage. You remove them surgically and without delay. You use what's useful. You lose what's not. That's not cruelty. That's survival. That's how you protect your climb. That's how you keep your standards pure. Machiavelli didn't deal in sentiment. He dealt in outcomes. He didn't wait around hoping people would change. He measured their value and acted accordingly. That's how he moved. That's how he ruled. That's how you win. Cutting toxic people isn't cruelty. It's clarity. Machiavelli didn't rise by pleasing everyone. He rose by protecting his vision with ruthless discipline. Every second you spend managing drama is a second stolen from your purpose. This isn't about being heartless. It's about being relentless. You don't explain your standards. You enforce them. You don't argue with chaos. You eliminate it. The mission is too big, the climb too steep, and your time too precious to carry dead weight. Move with strategy, cut without apology, and never forget, greatness doesn't grow in poisoned soil. Burn the weeds and build the empire.